Hello and welcome to 101 with Montgomery County Executive Isaiah Leggett. I'm Lorna Virgili and thank you for watching. Hello, Mr. Leggett. How are you?
Very well. How are you today?
Long time since we sat down and have this 101. Lots of things happened in Montgomery County in the last few weeks, but March 17th, you sent your recommended budget FY15 to County Council. They're still deliberating, a vote's still pending. What have you heard back? Any feedback from them?
Well, I think fairly consistent. I don't see that there have been any major deviations from what we've forwarded thus far. Naturally, council has the final word, and they will take an opportunity to look at all aspects of the budget. But I don't see that there's any major differences from what I submitted earlier in terms of where they are today. Clearly, there are some additions that they would like to make, but you're restrained by the amounts of monies and resources we have and long-term implication of that. So the council is looking at that as well. So I think, as I've indicated in the past, we vetted the budget fairly well. We had a large number of town hall meetings. I talked to individual council members, had a pretty good sense of where we were in terms of how that budget was crafted, in sense of how we can proceed for the foreseeable future. And so there are not a lot of surprises in the budget. It was fairly close to a strip, but we had some good news based on a number of budgetary actions that we've taken in the past that now provides some level of flexibility for us so that we can look at some expansion of programs, certainly increasing our police force, and a number of other things on the edges. But overall, I think it's received a pretty good reception thus far.
You did send some amendments to council. Had to do post Annapolis, the fact that we did get more funding from the state. Can you highlight some of those additions to the budget due to the fact that the county will get more funding from the state?
Well, let's put this in context and why we send additional, or at least amendments over to the council. Keep in mind that I submit the budget generally March the 15th. The legislative session in Annapolis goes until at least the second week in April. And so there's a disconnect between the time that I forward my budget and pending action in Annapolis. And oftentimes the pending action in Annapolis could have an impact on what we do here locally. There very well may be bond bills for which we have to provide a local match. There very well may be some additional funding from Annapolis we have to incorporate in. And on some rare occasion, there may be reductions of funds from Annapolis as well. And so it's not unusual that we would forward an amendment over. In addition, we are constantly getting updates on our revenue projections. And so what may have happened in March and February when we first put together may very well be different later on. And so we would go back to refine that, add additional items therein, or substitute some items depending on how the revenues flow and expectations and how the legislative session in Annapolis comes forward. In this case, we received some additional monies from Annapolis in terms of school construction, so we're able to add to our construction budget. In addition to that, there were some items that we probably would have second thoughts about, would probably add into the budget small. And so with the additional resources we had, we were able to reprioritize some of the budgetary items on the construction side. We got some increased revenues from Annapolis and made some minor adjustments in some programs across the board.
When we talk about school constructions, of course, you were advocating for Montgomery County to receive more funds during the legislative session in Annapolis. How much do we really get in comparison to what you were advocating and seeking for? And how does that translate in actual school construction? When are we going to see the first construction?
Right. Well, there are three components to this. First of all, what the county, Montgomery County, provides in its legislative budget for construction. And we increased that approximately 13%, so we provided more monies locally from Montgomery County. In addition to that, we were anticipating somewhere around $35 to $36 million from the traditional customary form of construction dollars from the state. We actually increased that. We ended up with about $41 million as opposed to 35 or 36. Now, there was a third component that we were seeking, that is the state to provide us some additional revenues, somewhere in the neighborhood of $20 million over and above that number. That is pegged toward challenges that we see down the line, especially in years 16 and 17, to anticipate some of the growth through our system. We have a little bit of time to get to that point. Right now, we need to get a commitment from the state so that we can project and provide the revenues and the plans that are necessary in order for us to move forward for the 16-17 construction season. So we have at least one more year. So the good thing about it, even though we did not get that additional amounts of money, is because A, the state was cutting back on some of its resources, and secondly, I think there was some challenges by some of the smaller jurisdictions who said, wow, if you're going to take care of Montgomery County, Prince George's County, and Baltimore County in terms of additional construction needs, then you need to look at some of the smaller counties as well. And so they sort of lobbied to be included. And once it got to be a pretty heavy bill, and given the challenges of reducing the overall construction dollars, the state said, well, let's come back and look at this and deal with it much more comprehensively. And so I anticipate that over the summer, we'll look at some other approaches to get that third component of monies. But I'm fairly confident that we're going to get something out of this process. The governor now has set up a task force. He's directed his agencies to go back to try to find a way in which to do this. We now need to come up with the legislative fix and the development plans in order to move this forward.
Talking about school, you also recommended 8 additional police officers as resource officers within the schools. That brings up the number to covering all of the high schools in the county?
Yes, that's right. Now keep in mind what we said earlier. We said that our overall goal was to make certain that we had a police officer in every high school. And we've got that number down to about 7 or 8 as I recall. And we were not able to go initially as fast this year as we wanted to, but we indicated that we would come back and try to catch it up. Given additional resources from Annapolis and given the stability of the budget overall, we thought that upon second thought and talking with the Council President Rice and some of the others there, that we could move this up now. And so one of the recommendations in the amendments that I referred to earlier is the fact that we are now increasing that number to 8 additional officers, thereby providing at least 1 officer in every high school in Montgomery County.
Is your goal for the future also to provide for middle schools?
Well, we have not made that commitment. We will look at that on a case-by-case basis, but we will look at how we can expand it to some of the middle schools as well. But the primary objective here was to get it at the high school.
Recently you were in Annapolis when the governors signed the wage bill at the state level, raising the minimum wage to $7.25, from $7.25 to $10.10 an hour in the next 3 years. Montgomery County, our new minimum wage gets raised in the fall, October this year, to $8.40. Mm-hmm. From the business owner perspective, why do we need to pay more in Montgomery County than the state?
Well,
to our employees?
Yeah. First of all, I'm delighted that the state passed an action. I was a little bit disappointed that it was not as high and would not be kicked in sooner. But Montgomery County, given the fact that the cost of living is much higher in the Washington metropolitan area, Montgomery County, Prince George's County, and the District of Columbia all agreed that we needed to raise at least $11.50 over the next 4 years. Now, given that fact, we assumed that the state would take action. Unfortunately, the state decided to come in with a number much lower. But at least it's a step in the right direction. We have a large number of men and women who are working diligently out there and cannot afford to live in the county, not only here, the District of Columbia, Prince George's County as well. And we need to rectify that. And one way to do that is to address it by way of an increase in the minimum wage.
Disappointed that the state came lower?
Yes, it was disappointed, but at least it's a step in the right direction.
Okay, we're going to take a small short break, and we'll be right back with Montgomery County Executive Isaiah Leggett. Stay tuned.
Save time on Election Day. Vote between June 12 and 19 at one of 9 early voting centers in Montgomery County. Voting hours are 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. Find the early voting center most convenient to you by visiting our website, 777vote.org. During the early voting period, wait time information is also available on our website. You choose the location, you choose the date. Remember, your time, your voice, your vote.
Montgomery County wants to thank everyone for their commitment to recycling. Together, we're recycling 57% of our waste, and we know you'll work with us to reduce waste and recycle more, 70% by 2020. To protect the environment and provide a better future for our children, we need to recycle all of our paper, cans, bottles, containers, scrap metal, and more. Because if you don't get serious about recycling at your apartment or condominium now, it's going to come back and bite us.
For those dealing with the daily struggles of caring for a loved one, we hear you. That's why AARP created a community with experts and other caregivers to help us better care for ourselves and the ones we love.
There's a reason why area law enforcement are out enforcing pedestrian and traffic safety laws and preventing killer pedestrian crashes. Be alert. Be street smart.
Welcome back to One-on-One with Montgomery County Executive Isaiah Leggett. Right before the break, we were talking about the minimum wage in the state. There was something you needed to add about that.
Yeah, in addition to making it lower, the state also provided different interpretations, if you will, of some changes to the law. In other words, they took a different approach as it relates to tipped employees, and they carved out some exceptions for young people and seasonal employees. You can argue back and forth about those exceptions. I think the one that I would probably differ with the state would be how you treated the tip employees. It should have been a little bit higher, in my opinion, for that. But overall, given the fact that the state has now passed a bill, one of the few in the entire country, it's a major step in the right direction, and we can always find ways in which to retune this and to come back at a later point in time to review what adjustments we need to make going to the future.
Since we're talking about wages and compensation to employees, recently you introduced legislation here in Montgomery County for equal pay. That means that county contractors would have to submit information as to how they compensate their employees regardless of gender and sex. What is that all about, and was there a problem in the county?
Well, not a problem just in the county, it's a problem in the nation as a whole. We had a lawsuit some years ago brought by Mrs. Ledbetter, who challenged, if you will, some of the difficulties and problems associated with this particular problem. That is, she was being discriminated against and did not realize it because she did not have the information related to her salary compared to that of her employees and so forth. That had she had that information, she could have brought the suit sooner and thereby avoided the challenges associated with not getting the information and having a lawsuit thrown out. So there's been a move afoot across the nation to, in fact, rectify that. Now, the big push here was at the national level for the U.S. Senate and the House of Representatives to pass the Fairness Pay Act, which unfortunately the Senate by a few votes decided not to do so. So the president has decided that he will do so as it relates to federal contracts. That is, employers that are working contracts with the federal government, they must provide that type of information. Now, I decided locally that Montgomery County can do the same thing as it relates to its contract with private employers. And so we've introduced it, designed to accomplish a couple of things. One, make the information available as it relates to salaries and benefits. And then secondly, you cannot retaliate against someone who may in fact take a look at that and you try to go after that employee for sharing that information. So that information is now open and people can discuss that. That way, a female employee will know whether or not she's working at the same job, getting much less pay, and having an explanation for that. This is a wonderful idea. It sounds so simple, but it is really a huge deal. The fact that you can get this information and make judgments about your pay or the like thereof. There's a need in this country because right now, across this nation, women receive somewhere in the neighborhood of 77 cents to every dollar that a male receives. And there are a large number of females who are head of a household. And so it's a direct impact on families, a direct impact on people who are working, and it's something that we should correct. And it's simply wrong, in my opinion, for us to have these kinds of discriminatory practice in the nation.
So what it means then is that county contractors will have to disclose salaries for every single one of
That's
our
right.
employees, basically.
And you cannot retaliate against the employee for sharing that information.
Very well. Let's transition into health. Recently, you and Council Member George Leventhal introduced a new plan in a partnership with several health organizations in the county and the 5 hospitals in the county plan to improve 2 issues: behavioral health and obesity in the county. Bringing all these groups to working together, how is that going to really assist me if I have a mental health issue?
Well, first of all, we need to better coordinate the resources that we do have in the county, and we have a number of institutions now doing great work. Secondly, we need to make sure that the county is an information source so that it can help people, direct them to the resources that are out there. Thirdly, when you look at the cost factors that are associated with the access to mental health and trying to provide information in reference to obesity, people are just simply not getting that information. And so this is a coordinated effort to take on 1 or 2 items in the health field to say, by making improvements in these areas, we can significantly impact the quality of health for so many people within our community. This is really a relaunch of an effort that started some time ago, and we did not have the kind of robust attention to details that we have now. And so I believe now by recasting this, looking at it as it relates to obesity, behavior health, those are 2 areas which you can look at and see that there could be some very significant gains if we address this problem forthright in a coordinated manner.
So I wanted to mention that because a new study actually puts Montgomery County near the top on life expectancy among the nation's 3,143 counties, which means that we're healthier and we're less obese than the rest of the nation in comparison.
And we're living longer as a result. Living long as a result of the health indices that we have in Montgomery County. Living longer because people really understand the connectivity between good health, nutrition, obesity, and all the other things that are impacted on your health, that you would ultimately have a longer lifespan.
Which puts you back into senior services.
That's right.
More of them. Let's talk a little bit now about economic development. Recently, you and Director Silverman launched a campaign for the businesses in the county, sort of like to join chambers and network and be more active. As a matter of fact, the ride-on buses have big signs all over town. So you want business owners to belong to chambers and network, and so that we can spur some kind of growth among.
Well, here's what we have. We have a lot of businesses in Montgomery County that are disparate. They're not taking advantage of resources that are here. We operate certainly with individual businesses, but we also operate and work closely with the chambers of commerce. So it's easier for us to work through those individual entities, providing them with resources and making sure that they provide resources through contractual services in some cases to their membership. But if the membership is not actively engaged, then it means the job for the chamber is much harder. The job for the Office of Economic Development for us is much more difficult as well. And so what we're trying to do is try to find a way in which to get more of the businesses actively engaged with the chamber, get them participating in a way that allows us to disperse information, to work with them, that helps all of the business across the board.
Okay, well, we're going to take another short break. We'll be right back with Montgomery County Executive Ike Leggett. Stay tuned.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. But it's always the same basket, and it's always in the same place. And then she acts so surprised when I find them, but, she's putting them in the same basket. Again. It's like, hello, that's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
Did you know there are more than 10,000 county government phone numbers? But there's only one number you need to remember for non-emergency calls, 311. MC311 is Montgomery County government's online telephone information system. Need information? Have a problem or complaint? Trying to locate a county government facility? Call 311. The call center is open Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. The website is available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Ever pull into a parking lot and think, what's up with those pedestrians? Sometimes they seem so oblivious to vehicles. Park, start walking to the store, and wow, those drivers are so aggressive. They act like the lot is theirs. It's no wonder that nearly 1/3 of pedestrian collisions occur in parking lots, and a significant number cause severe injuries. Avoid becoming a statistic. Drivers, don't run over people. Pedestrians, don't get run over. It's that simple. Heads up in parking lots.
Are you sure they can recycle us, Clamshell?
Hey, Dome, we're on a new recycling postcard.
I can't wait to make a new start. Maybe I'll be a red carpet at a big premiere.
And I'll get to paint the White House.
Shh, here he comes.
Now you can recycle more plastics in Montgomery County, including #1 PET plastics such as clamshells, deli containers, trays, lids, domes, and cups.
We're in!
For more information on recycling, contact the Montgomery County, Maryland Division of Solid Waste Services at 311. The wait is over. Recycle more plastics today.
All right, welcome back. Thank you for staying here with us. We continue our conversation with County Executive Ike Leggett. E-permits and e-plans, they're electronic way to get permits from the Department of Permitting Services. How effective has it proven to be if I am getting ready to do some sort of remodeling in my personal home?
Well, anytime you have to go through these processes, there's oftentimes time that's lost, there's some level of confusion, and it may be a little bit more expensive for you to do it in the traditional manner. So what we're trying to do now is to break down some of those barriers, to make it easier for those who are seeking permits to get those permits, so that we can make certain that those who are engaged in the commerce of this county can get out and do it in a much faster, much more efficient manner. And one of the ways you go to this now is you go by automation. That we have developed plans now that we've started to implement, whereby you can get permits basically online and fulfill much of the obligations that you have online. That reduces the cost of time when you consider the amount of paper that is lost, the amount of fuel driving to and from your businesses to the county to in fact make certain that you go through the permit process, the cost of all of that associated with that. There's a direct impact on that cost that's passed on, for example, to the homeowners, because the homeowners end up paying for all of those processes, the cost associated with it, and really impacts the quality of the homes that you purchase because you may have an added cost. We want to reduce it. We want to make it much more efficient for you to do business in the county. We want to make sure your experience is a good experience, and we're one of the first jurisdictions to push this type of automation. We're still working on it, and we continue to make improvements so that we can ensure that a large volume of the work that we're currently doing now by hand, manually, with people coming in and having these big reams of paper aboard, we can reduce that significantly by having much of this online. And this was an announcement of our online efforts and listening to the testimonies of some of the businesses who utilize that to say, this is good for Montgomery County and will save money and reduce the cost and the challenges we currently face. So it's a good thing for us.
Do we have enough construction going on in the county to justify that?
Oh yes, and you go through these ups and downs, these lows, and lots of that is dependent upon the state of the economy at the time, the overall economy, how available can you get the loans for homeowners. All of those things impact the pace and the level of development that you would have. But even if you're in a lower kind of response by developers, I think you should do it. And then once it picks back up, you have a process in place that can much more readily accommodate the demands that are out there.
Construction and housing, recently there was a affordable housing event that you participated in, and also the county's official housing fair in the city of Gaithersburg. It seemed that the housing fair, most of the participants were interested in the home purchasing, whereas a couple years ago perhaps it was more foreclosure prevention. Are we out of the woods in Montgomery County, or still need to worry about foreclosures?
Well, I still think that there are some challenges that are out there. The pace of foreclosures much lower. The impact to individual homeowners, I think, has been lessened to some degree. So we are taking two approaches. The best foreclosure prevention is to make certain that people not get into that cycle to begin with. And so we're providing assistance to offset the challenges people normally face with foreclosures. The other part of that is to get a house that is affordable, a house that people feel comfortable about and want to stay in. And so this housing fair was designed to provide a sort of wraparound, holistic approach to all that you may need in terms of purchasing a house. There are realtors that are there. There are people who talk to you about loans and applications for loans. There are people who do remodeling for homes. And of course, there is the information that you need from the county and other sources that would help you make an informed decision about purchasing of a home. But it was a holistic, huge approach to get there. Now, I'll add one other thing, though. I love doing those kinds of programs because it is helpful because there's a need out there. But the real challenge for me is the fact that there's a need out there. What we should be working on and what we're trying to do is reduce the need. Therefore, there's a less of a demand to provide those kinds of services because housing will be so plentiful, people will have an opportunity to get them without having to have a special fair, bringing people together and making these huge efforts day in and day out in order to address a concern. I want to make sure we reduce the concern so that we not have to have these kinds of forums.
It was very successful. It was actually packed with
Yeah.
county
Well, that's
residents.
sort of good and bad because when you have so many people, that shows that there's a problem that still exists.
Exactly. Let's talk about fire stations. The Travilla Fire Station up county just opened its doors. The fifth one since you took office about 8 years ago.
Yeah. Well, I'm quite proud of the fact that we've built now
State-of-the-art
5.
facility.
That's right. 5 new facilities. It helps us to reduce the response time. It provides us with a new community asset that the community can use as well. We have built 5 stations thus far, and in the prior 12 years, we only built 2. So this is a huge effort going forward. And I think we'll be able to make even greater strides in the future because we now have the ambulance reimbursement fee. That fee would allow us now to build quickly, provide the equipment that we need, and allow us to make certain that we get that response time down even further.
We were really hit severely this past winter with storms. Results, lots of potholes throughout the streets in the county. You had to launch a pothole blitz. That meant the Department of Transportation had to go out there and filled all these potholes. Over 3,000 or 4,000 of them. We don't have a final count on those quite yet. What's the tab on that?
It's expensive. We don't have the official tab as of yet, but my view is, as I stated with the snow, we're going to remove the snow and we're going to remove the ice and we're going to fill those potholes. And this is why I had this big effort launched to identify locations where their potholes exist and then find solutions to get to it as quickly as possible. And I think we've done a remarkable job in filling potholes. Unfortunately, there are probably still some out there that we need to hear from you about. So if you have a concern about it, let us know and we'll get someone out to make adjustments as quickly as possible.
Recycling. For the second consecutive year, the county is holding the highest waste diversion rate in the state.
That's good news. You may recall I stated some time ago that when we first established the original goal of 50%, I was on the county council and helped draft that legislation to do so. We're now at almost 60%, and so we've established a new goal of 70%. So I feel very good that we can reach that number. But again, you could help us by making certain that you recycle. You could help us by making certain that where you work, they recycle. And as a result of those things, it can improve that number and get us to the number of 70% by 2030.
I think we have about 30 seconds left for the show. Montgomery Serves Awards. You honor 8 volunteers in our community recently at Imagination Stage. Just a closing thought on that.
Oh, it was such a delightful evening to honor so many in our community who made such a huge a commitment to helping and volunteering. And it was a wonderful array of people throughout the county, and at least one business. We continue to build on this, but the real driving force behind this is the people's desire to get out and help others in our community. And there still continue to be needs that are out there. So if you feel the need, certainly call our volunteer center and come in and volunteer.
That's montgomeryserves.org.
That's right.
Thank you, Mr. Leggett, and for you watching, thank you for joining us today.
Most of us know someone who has had a close call in the water. Unfortunately, my close call is about me and my son. It was at a pool without a lifeguard, but with lots of people. By the time I got to him, he was unconscious. I pulled him out and had to perform CPR. It worked. Now I take a CPR refresher course every year through the American Red Cross. It's how I pool safely, and it's something we all can do to build our own water safety skills. Take a CPR course, please, because you never know which step will save a life, until it does.